Hey, welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Red Tigers podcast. I am Kieran Steckley. With me, as always, is Cody Stavenhagen. And back for some more is Mr. Austin Jackson. As you guys know, he's going to be a regular here at Tiger Territory. So, Austin, thanks for not quitting on us. Glad we didn't scare you away, or the fans didn't scare you away. I guess my first thing I want to ask is, how does it feel to be officially, now that you're on podcast number 2 and you went on our parent show earlier this week, how does it officially feel to be a member of the media?
Hey, officially, it's an honor. Now I get to be on this side, talk a little mess, stir up a little drama. I just want to see how that feels. I don't know how that feels, so we're gonna see if I can stir up some drama. Nah, I ain't got that. I ain't got that.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the season brings. For now, thanks to everyone who sent in questions. We're gonna dive into some more memories of Austin's career. I got to say, 4 people sent, tell me about the catch in the Armando Galarraga game. So I put that out there on Twitter. We already talked about that, guys. It was on Austin's first episode. So if you didn't catch that, go check out Austin's debut. He had a great breakdown of the Galarraga game.
Yeah, and certainly, like Cody said, appreciate everybody with the feedback. A lot of, as I told Austin when we first approached doing this podcast, it was like, we talked about it last week, fond memories of his era in Tigers baseball, and right now people are trying to, anticipate another kind of fond era of Tigers baseball. So I was kind of curious, Austin. This was not from the mailbag, but I think it's fitting because we're sitting here. It's January 8th. The countdown to spring training has kind of begun a little bit in people's minds. So I'm kind of curious if you could kind of take us through what your off-season routine was. How did you kind of divide it up, especially now, like it's the new year and spring training feels like closer and closer, kind of where did you want to be? And I guess also as a young man and then as an older player, was there any kind of difference, either what you did or what was expected of you, because the game was always evolving?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, around this time, it's turn up time. There was no more playing at this time of the month. But my off-season routine, which as I got older, I realized I wish I would have switched it up a little bit when I was younger, but I didn't have to. I was just young, and I could just run around all day, didn't have to stretch, and now that's just not possible when you get a little older. But my off-season routine, consisted of first getting a good break, and that's what I'll come back to, which I wish later that I would have switched it up a little bit and started a little bit earlier. But yeah, I would take a good little break. A lot of the times I would take a trip. That was like the first thing I would do is, take a trip, had a trip planned. Obviously with a lot of the teams that I played on with the Tigers, you had to schedule those trips a little bit later in the year because we were going to the playoffs, and we knew it. But for me personally, I was a hard gainer. I couldn't gain any weight. So the off season for me, I mean, I would literally lose it all during the season. So the off season was the time for me to try to bulk up, try to put on a little muscle to sustain, a full season. And so right away, that was what I was doing. I was literally put myself on an eating program to try to bulk up, put some weight back on that I lost, and try to get a little bit stronger, obviously. But the weight routine training was a really big part of it. Speed was my game. So speed training was something that I started up right away. But back to the eating part, it was, since I was such a hard gainer, I mean, I was just literally, trying to get 5,000, 6,000 calories down. And it just wasn't, that's hey, brother, that was tough. And I just still wasn't really, I was just a greyhound, bro. Like I could eat and run all day and it would just run off. Like I couldn't gain any weight. It happened until I was done, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have been running. I could have. This is how you do it. All right, okay." But no, hitting and all the skill stuff, I would kind of push back till probably December. Again, another thing that I wish I would have kind of honed in and started maybe at maybe a little bit just some light hitting and throwing, because that after a season everything's broke down. You're trying to build everything back up. So you think about 3 months to build back up strength. I mean, yeah, that's some time, but there's more time in the season to break everything down, and you know what I mean. So, but as a lot of guys, well, at least me, I was looking at that calendar. I was looking at the clock all the time, like, okay, here it is. It's November. All right. Ooh, I gotta, I can get back into it. Ooh, December. I'm like, ooh, let me look at the step, constantly stepping on the scale. Like, oh, that ain't gonna get it. Another ice cream shake at night. just about to throw up, trying to gain some weight out here. Like, brother, that ain't you. That ain't your body type. But come January though, that's when you were pretty much in that phase in the off season where you want to be somewhat, probably your strongest. You're hitting, you're throwing, all your skill stuff. Like you're pretty much full go with that stuff. And I think everybody's at a different level. Like, obviously pitchers and position players are going to be at different, different points in that, depending on what the team requires out of them. But for me, I was, January was the turn up time. Like, that's where I wanted to be kind of full go with my strength, with my skills training. And, since I got down to spring training a little early, not too early, but a little early. And I wanted to build up some type of routine that where, when I was going into spring training, I was able to maintain that from a routine standpoint, from a strength standpoint. I wanted to really kind of continue doing what I did essentially in the off season. That way I was making sure that I could maintain my weight, for the season, because I would lose it all in spring training. Like, I'd gain 10, 15 pounds, and by the end of spring training, I was like into the season weight again, bro. It was crazy, man. I had a hard time gaining weight, so that was my focus. So
I'm pretty sure I've lost 10 pounds just standing around watching you guys in Lakeland. I can't imagine having to actually run around under that sun and that humidity.
Oh, yeah.
But Austin, that does lead us right into one of our questions from one of our YouTube viewers. About a swing change you made between, I believe, the 2011 and 2012 seasons. But real quick, I want to tie this to something going on with the current team. Like, there are guys right now, I'm sure, trying to make adjustments. I talked to a couple people last week. Spencer Torkelson, even though Colt Keith is moving to first base, even though Torque is maybe looking on the outs right now, there's a whole team of people working with this guy. Tigers are focused on trying to improve his bat path, and I think he's doing a lot of stuff in the weight room to try to get his body to move better so that he can take that into the box and do the movements he wants to do. So you just have some perspective on what goes into changing your swing in the offseason. The question was, can you talk about your approach in the offseason to change your hitting, what Lloyd McClendon and others advised you to do, and what routine you devised to get more successful at seeing the ball? So any memories you have of that tweak you made around that time in your career?
Yeah, I know 2010, my first year, I was just coming in there just an athlete. I just see ball, hit ball, like, no joke. Like, we tried things and it was just like, dude, I'm just going to out athletic everything. I'm just young and I'm fiery, I'm springy, and, it's like the best years of the way your body feels. So, like, don't get me wrong, we worked on things, but, a lot of it was just kind of them trying to see Lloyd, trying to see who I was for that first year, him getting real familiar with my swing and what I was able to do on a daily basis. But in 2011, so we made some changes. We talked about some things at the end of that 2010 season, going into the off season, and I had a high leg kick. And so, it's no secret. I was out there punching. I was striking out. I get 2 hits, 2 strikeouts every game. It's coming. You don't know when it's coming. Hey, there go them 2 hits. We can wrap it up for the rest of this game. It is 2 strikeouts coming. All right, it's something coming. You can get a hit and a strikeout. I did that all the time. So whatever. It is what it is. But so, that thing about being the leadoff hitter, especially in front of, Miggy and guys like that who had a potential of driving a lot of runs, we really talked about, hey, let's focus about, like, making more solid contact, getting on base, getting on, because I was, again, speed was part of my game, getting on base, getting in scoring position for the big guy behind me. So we took the leg kick away in 2000. We talked about taking it away in 2011. I believe I still was doing it in 2011, maybe part of the season, and it was just not working. Like, that year of 2010, the pitchers, all teams had a full year to study you and figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and they're really good at it. And they exploit a lot of things got exploited for me, and so we started tampering with, taking a leg kick away was really tough because that was just it was a timing thing for me. I always did a leg kick up until that point. And so, I had to kind of buy into it because I was struggling. I could not get going. 2011 was just a tough year for me. And like I said, with, pitchers, teams having more information on me, they exploited my weaknesses. Now, went through 2011 season. Going into the off season, we were like, hey, this is probably the time we need to work on it. Let's take it away. Like, let's go to a stride and hit. And I knew doing that, like the leg kick, I felt like it gave me more thump on the ball, gave me a little bit more power. So, again, a thin guy, doing a stride and hit. I was like, this ball ain't going nowhere. Like, this might just go over the infield. Like, so I literally, that was the year, like, I really focused on getting stronger in the gym. And we changed up my training routine. I remember telling my trainer, I said, I want to look like a football player. I want to look like a safety. Make me look like a safety. I don't care what we doing, what we do. I'm all in. Let's go. So we started doing some CrossFit type training. Look, now, I mean, that has nothing to do with baseball. Like, the movements are not the same. Nothing was the same about this. Like, we're doing 70 burpees. Like, that has nothing to do. Now, hey, granted, I was in phenomenal shape. Like, that was the strongest I have been in my career, the strongest. So that one thing that helped, just my strength in the box, because my balance. Like, I was a solid, to me, I felt like I was a solid rock in the box. My legs were strong. My core was strong. Everything was just strong because I really focused that offseason on getting stronger. Now, having to take away the leg kick, that was just something that, I went in the offseason just practicing just a stride, basically put my foot down, get my hands loaded, and just stand there. Like, really just focusing on seeing the ball. Like, that was it. There was no, magical swing plane, get on. It was like, hey, get your foot down, see the ball, use your hands. And so that, that's kind of how I went into the season. I actually went down to Detroit, worked the caravan that the Tigers do. Went down there early, did some hitting with him. And he was like, yep, hey, this works. Hey, you look good. You look strong. Hey, I like this. Went into the season, spring training with that, worked good. I think so. It worked good. And I don't know, probably that first month, I believe that's when Prince was there. That was Prince's first year with the Tigers. If I'm wrong,
yeah, 2012. Yep.
Okay, cool. So Prince was a guy that helped me with that, because I was talking to him about, like, man, I just don't have any rhythm into this stride and load and stride. I don't have any rhythm into it. So I started watching him in BP. Everybody knows Prince had the slow tap, get back on that back leg, and then it was full chaos coming through. And I was like, I like that. I need that time. Like, I want, because the leg kick, same thing. You got to get started early. Like, you get that leg up early, and when you put it down, it's you bringing it. I couldn't get that feeling with just striding and loading my hands. So we started doing the toe tap, and I started getting my power back. I was able to use my legs a lot more, but I was a lot more balanced in the box. I was a lot more quiet with my feet, quiet with my load. So I was able to see the ball so much better. Still have my moments where I struggled, but with not having this big leg kick and not having to, really try to redefine my timing, a little toe tap here, just boom, boom, and getting it back down really helped me see the ball. And, not to mention just being physically stronger. And I think that helped me mentally too, knowing that, hey, I felt stronger. My body felt good. And, what I was doing mechanically was working because I was able to see pitches a lot longer. Now I got hurt. That was the issue of being strong like that. I wasn't stretching. I was yeah. Your boy was cleaning and front squatting and just like during the season, I was doing this stuff and they're like, dude, you're a leadoff hitter. I'm like, 80s. I don't care. Warming up, just getting it. I remember Prince came in one day. I was in there lifting. He's like, you're a leadoff hitter? Like, what are you doing? I don't care. I want to get it. So I was staying with that same trainer, regimen, and I ended up getting hurt and because I wasn't stretching. So, but yes, that was the biggest thing I did was, mechanically was take away the leg kick and started going with a toe tap. I know it took me a minute to get back around to that, but we got it.
Great explanation.
That's really good insight. Yeah.
I just want to point out real quick to everybody, Austin's talking about his 2011 down year, quote unquote. He was a 4.6 WAR guy, and that would comfortably be behind Riley Green on the 2024 Tigers for second amongst position players. So I just want to put that out there real quick. Humble Mr. Jackson there. So one more sort of self-submission into this little Q&A thing, because you mentioned Prince a couple times there, and again, I think this is kind of timely. Tigers fans are waiting to see whether Alex Bregman's gonna, choose to sign with the Tigers, and so like everybody's kind of waiting with bated breath every day. I know Cody is for a professional side. I am, to be able to do this. I'm curious, during the offseason, like Prince was signed on January 26th before that 2012 season. So how much are you paying attention to sort of the transactions and then, in general with the team, especially one that has real expectations like you guys did then and like the Tigers are trying to get to right now? And I guess specifically to Prince too, like your reaction to saying, because, the VMart injury happens just then. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like, came out of nowhere. Prince Fielder's going to be a Tiger. In your case, is going to be my teammate. So, that part of the offseason, what was that like for you?
Man, you get pumped up. You just get this rejuvenate, like, all right, cool. Like, we're not taking a step back right now. We're going forward. Like, we're going forward. Like, and with that sign, it let us know, like, hey, we're in a position right now to win. We got the team to win right now. And going out and grabbing Prince was huge. I mean, I've heard many, the stories about Prince, him as a teammate. Obviously, you see what he does as a player. But, I mean, that just pumped me up. Like I said, it just kind of added, like, that extra juice to you in the offseason, man. Like, you were pumped up, not only to just be his teammate, but to know that he's, what he can add to the team from an offensive standpoint is just it was just unreal, man. It was awesome. Like, I was pumped up, dude. Like, I was super excited. Couldn't wait to get to spring training, to meet him and became one of my favorite teammates to ever play with. So,
yeah, those are some things maybe for the Tigers and the current roster to consider. We've already talked a ton about that on our last couple episodes. So, to another question, to another Austin Jackson memory here. This one's from Nick S., who's a longtime listener, and he just said, "Talk us through this absolute seed of a throw," and sent a YouTube clip. I'm going to play this for you real quick, Austin, and I want to know what you remember about this play. This was against the Indians in 2011.
And the 1-1. In the air to shallow center field. Jackson has it measured. Catch is made. They're going to try and score the run. Here's the throw to the plate. He is on and home plate. Oh, Jackson! And the Tigers sweep the series.
That was a seed. That was a seed.
Yeah. That's when your boy had. That's when you like. Hey, that's what I'm telling you. Like, when I was younger and my body was, felt good, and I could just catch it and right away just let it go. Instead, like later on, we got to take an extra step, get your body and your back in the right position, like that. I mean, that was awesome because I think DK was playing left field, Don Kelly, and he was playing left field, and it's so cool because me and DK, like, we got so many plays together where it's like, oh, DK was beside me on that. And so he's, first of all, I think Valverde, I think, was he on his streak that year? I want to say he might have been on his streak that year. So, and also just kind of one of those years where like kind of everything was like lined up for me, like defensively, like it was just, I was taking the right angles to balls a lot. I was just, really getting really good jumps on balls. But I remember that play like it was yesterday, man. Like off the bat, got a great read on it, lined up, lined my feet up, lined my body up. And I just remember DK in my ear, like, throw it out. And I'm like, it gave me an extra jolt, He's like, throw it out. And I mean, it just was perfect. Like the timing of it, me just catching it and just the transition just from the glove to hand and letting it go. And, probably one of the best throws I've ever made. Accurately anyways. And yeah, that was a crazy play right there to end the game and to keep that streak going, man, because there was a lot of plays that kept that streak going, because it got weird in towards the end of the game when Valverde would get on the mound. It was like walk bases loaded sometimes, and it's like, hold up, what? You got that? And so that was one of those times where it was like, man, everything had to be perfect. And it was. Alex, he's right there, vacuuming that thing up and putting that tag on him, so everything worked out perfect.
Well, it's not a former Tigers Q&A without some Miggy love. All right, so we have Wyatt, we have Mark, a couple guys that send in some version of what's it like to play with Miguel? Do you have a funny Miguel Cabrera story? What kind of impact did he have on you playing with? A guy who, statistically speaking, is one of the greatest to ever do it. And sometimes like he got older and his career like really kind of slowed down, but like sometimes you got to remind yourself like this guy was one of the greatest to ever do it, and you got to share a lineup card with him. So when I say Austin Jackson, Miguel Cabrera, go, what kind of like comes to mind?
I mean, in my opinion, he is one of, if not the greatest hitters to of his era for sure. I can't say enough about it. Like every time I talk about it, I'm like, dude, this guy was unreal. And, I was just fortunate to like, be able to see you always hear about, these great athletes, great people, great, whatever it is. And you just wonder like, what do they do different? What gives them that edge over everybody else? Obviously, from a physical standpoint, Miguel Cabrera, you see his physical stature. And I mean, he's a big guy, super athletic though, is what's the crazy thing about being that height and that size, that weight. The dude was light on his feet. I mean, to be able to make the transition from first base to third base and make it look pretty easy. You know what I mean? Like pretty easy at that size. This dude's work ethic was different. And that's what it is. Like, yes, he was blessed talent that, he was blessed to have the hand-eye coordination, right? He's just better than everybody else. But he also put the work in, though. Like it was the work that nobody got to see. The weight room sessions that I would go in there, and the dude is in there pumping iron before or after the game. Every time this dude went to the cage, you best believe your boy was following him down there. Like I'm watching. That's free. That is free tutelage right there. I'm going. If this dude went to the cage, I was like, yep, I'm going. Like I'm following that into. You follow greatness around. You better if you want it to rub off on you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like I would go watch this dude. Every time this dude went down to hit, just to try to pick up, like, what is he seeing? What is he doing? What is his mechanics? Like, what is he doing before the, pre-pitch? What is he doing, with his hands when he loads them? And obviously he does some things that's just Miggy. You can't try to emulate that because it ain't going to work. But the guy, his work ethic is up there with the greats, and you try to emulate that. You try to do those things that you see the greats do. And not only was he a great player, but me and him got really close, man, when my time there. And he was awesome, man. I think it took he's a guy that, he had to trust you, to kind of let you in his circle. And I think I was one of those guys that he let in. And we had some really, really good times together, close talks, man. Was a guy that, we could vent back and forth to each other, can talk about anything, talk about life. And he's a good person, man, a good person. Now, Miggy would have these little moods. Me and Prince used to mess around. Like, he's like, he moody today. He gonna say something to me about that too, but I don't care. He would do these little moody things sometimes, like a little 12-year-old, man. I'd be like, nah, like, you too big for that, bro. Like, you too big to be coming in here acting like that. Me and Prince, we look at it, you kind of cut the eye, he's like, that mood today. Don't mess with him today. That ain't like, that's not Miggy. That's his son today. So let him ride.
I appreciate the honesty there. As a reporter, I always knew if you walked in the clubhouse and Miguel was like body turned toward the room, standing there, he was approachable that day.
Yeah.
If he had his back turned, staring at his locker,
yeah,
you didn't go within 10 feet of Miggy that day.
That ain't it. You already know, so you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the moods you're talking about. Yes, and I'm sure you've seen it way more than I have, but I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But that does kind of lead into another question from Mark B. He said, as a teammate, who was more intimidating, JV or Miggy? And I think this is kind of relevant. Verlander just last night signed with the Giants, 1 year, $15 million. That's the same deal the Tigers gave Alex Cobb. So obviously a lot of Tigers fans would have loved to see Verlander back in Detroit. But when they signed Alex Cobb, they talked a lot about what he could mean as a veteran leader, what a down-to-earth guy he was. Now, by all accounts, Verlander has kind of softened a little bit in his old age. I'm sure he would be a great mentor to young players too. But I was thinking, like, you throw a guy like Justin Verlander in the room with that young of a team, it would definitely alter the chemistry just because he's Justin Verlander. So yeah, were you ever intimidated by either of those guys? And what was it like just playing with players of that stature, egos or personalities of that stature?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe not intimidated wasn't the right word. I think more approachable. Which one was more, like, for me, just more approachable? And I can see how sometimes, their moods that they were in, it would probably seem intimidating. But for me, I think that Verlander, as you get to play with guys, you get to realize what makes them tick and just their routine and how they, when they're pitching, what kind of teammate is this person? Like, is this the person that, hey, you need to just say what's up to, or can you talk to him? Like a Doug Fister was, still talk to Doug all day, every day. Like, it didn't matter if he was pitching the World Series game or not. Verlander wasn't a guy like that. He put his headphones on from the time he opened his car door to the time he got in. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Like, but no, forget that. You're going to say what's up to me. You're going to give me something. So I would purposely do it. I'm like, yeah, hey, how we doing? All right. Okay. Yeah. You go speak to me. Like, I'm about to go chase some of these balls down now. You need to say something to me. I'm not the opponent, but I get it. That's just how it was. It's not intimidating, just more of like, not as approachable as a guy like Miggy. Now, Miggy, like we just talked about with his size, that can seem intimidating to some people, but he's a big kid, and like he has a kid spirit, he has a funny personality, and he's more easygoing, I think, than Ver. The more I got to know Ver, we kind of developed this, a cool little bond. But I think Miggy was more approachable, but he was a jokester too. So, to some people, he might come off like, oh man, that was mean. And then he's laughing behind your back, because he's just joking. He wasn't really like that. But I think Miggy was more approachable, and Verlander was, you had to have something to talk about. Don't just come up here to me and just start talking like I used to have to fake talk about cars. Like I didn't know nothing about no cars, but that was you know what I'm saying? This man got 27 cars out here. I don't know how to say none of them, but we gonna talk about them. Like, oh yeah, that that SLS S5 is what? You know what I mean? And I just had to, but that was our way to get in there. You know what I mean? So you just got to know how to approach it. You know what I mean?
That's really good.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Oh man, I almost want to end on that. We have more, but we also have we have plenty of time this offseason. I think we can get to some other. Cody, what do you think? Is there anything that's really pressing right now?
Let's show one more highlights. We got it in the bag.
Okay, let's do
All
that.
right, and you talked about this play, I think, on the Big Foul Territory show. I actually hadn't seen it until I watched you on there, but one of the best catches of your career was at Fenway Park. You leaped over the wall into the Red Sox bullpen. And at Burnt Evidence, I think this was a YouTube account, asked, did you have any interaction with Torrey Hunter after that play? Of course, that brings back the bad Tigers ALCS memories. But he also said, might go down as one of the only defensive plays to muster an ovation from the opponent. Here's that clip.
There's a long fly ball, deep center field. Jackson's back. He leaps. He made an unbelievable catch. He flipped into the bullpen. Did he hang on? That's the only question at this point.
He sure did.
What a play by Austin Jackson. That just...
That's pretty good.
Still looking pretty athletic there, Austin. Just saying.
Ooh, man. That was yeah, I mean, I talked about it earlier, but I love to explain how, in that moment, how things slowed, how you don't realize how in that quick of a moment, how, things slow down, just to, be in the air and look around it. Or I don't even know if I looked around, but it felt like I looked around and I was able to pick up like little small details, like the bullpen dirt, the grass, and the bullpen catcher, the pitcher that was throwing, to see fans, to see things like that in that quick of a moment, like when things slow down like that. So no, I did not talk to Torrey about it because I didn't know if that was a sour, like a sore subject a little bit. Because I joke around with him all the time because I'm like, bro, the way you went over that wall, man, like, why you didn't grab it? Like, you just hit it and just let your body go. And he's like, hey man, you gotta lay it on the line. I'm like, I know, but like when I went over there, I thought Torrey's body was gonna be just disfigured and like, because he hit it and he was gone. Like you don't see Torrey no more. Like, and there's no pop up at the 5 seconds. It's like he was down. Tough dude though, man. He's tough because you see what I did. I grabbed that wall. I grabbed the wall after I caught the ball. It's like I had time, honestly, to think about that as well. Like grab the wall. Like don't just fall on the, grab the wall. So I was able to jump, make the catch, and grab the wall, which was kind of impressive, I think, because that's not something that I think you're just reaction, in that moment. You're just reacting. And honestly, I didn't know if it was out or not. I'm like, I caught it, but I'm on the other side of the fence. So I've never done that before. I don't even know if I've seen anybody, do that in baseball. And I'm like, I'm gonna jump up like I know that he's out, but he might do this, and I can't even say nothing. Like I had no clue if he was, that's a home run or not. So I found out. Yeah, I need to up my game on the rules of baseball.
Well, I don't know if this was on purpose, but the sense of timing, you could see it in that clip of just like, getting over the wall and then, letting it go in, letting the ball go into the infield, and you can hear the different like oohs and ahs from the crowd after that. So instinctively, your sense of timing there was top notch, and and I'm glad that you have the ability to joke with Torrey about that catch. I took a tour of Fenway Park a couple of years ago, and I walk in, and the first thing I look at is that spot right there.
Yeah.
It's first thing I looked at, so I think I was with Cody watching that game when we were in college. I think I was mid beer pong toss and did
I don't remember it, to be honest.
And sometimes I wish I didn't either. All right. That was awesome. Thank you to everybody who sent questions in. Some stuff that we didn't get to, I think we'll be able to get through as the season approaches, especially things that will tie into season coming up, spring training, any of that stuff, topical things. So appreciate everybody who sent in questions. And, we did clips on this is the first time, Cody. So good job by you. We have clips on the show. So if you're just listening to us, go to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. We got to get to that mark in order to get to the next threshold. And you can watch the clips and see Austin's reaction as he's talking about them. I guarantee you it's worth the cost because the cost is free. Okay. Like the cost is free. It's worth the cost. So I strongly encourage everybody to do so. And thank you if you already have and subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on X at Tiger Territory _ at Cody Stavenhagen. I'm at Kieran _Steckley. So for Cody Stavenhagen and Austin Jackson, I am Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.